All right, but you can hear. All is good. All right, all is good in the hood. What is up?
Do we cheers tea?
Woo! That's the beginning. That's the sync.
That's the start.
All right, guys, what is going on? How are you doing? Camera, we have one camera right there. So as a bit of context to you guys, basically Philip and I, we both have done a couple podcasts together, but we wanted to record. We were just talking about some deep life talks, and we thought, let's get a podcast going. But instead of just the audio, as you can see, Philip has done a beautiful job with, let's get some visuals going here. So we have one camera for this first episode. Maybe for the future ones, we'll bring some more, get some more going. But Philip, I'll let you give a bit of context as what this is. Like, is this for my channel, your channel? Because I don't want to talk the whole time and not let you talk.
Yeah. I think David's gonna own full rights. No. So we're gonna split. I'm gonna put on my channel, and yeah, we're gonna have a podcast and also YouTube video side to it, as David said. And today we're gonna be answering some questions that we asked people to ask. Yeah, we asked people to ask. Yeah, sure. On Instagram, and we got a few questions, so we're just gonna tackle those questions, and then it'd be cool to do this in the future. A little more time prepared for it, and yeah.
So let's get on with these questions. Like Philip said, thank you guys so much for asking. We plan on doing more of these with guests, whether that be Philip and I or vice versa. So let's go, Philip. You want to start with the first question?
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah, man. And we'll just, there are quite a few guys, maybe like 6, 7, 8 questions. So we'll just kind of.
In a relatively short amount of time too. So that's
because we're so popular.
Yeah,
losers.
Sure. No, okay, that's not the first one. So we got, where do you draw your inspiration from? I'm going to let you take that, David.
As far as inspiration in like the creative field.
I'm going to take it from...
Because that was kind of general.
Yeah, it is general. So I'm going to direct it more towards like, where do you draw inspiration for making videos? Like what, let's say like currently in the last month or so, what's been your driving inspiration? Driving inspiration.
There are a lot of answers. There are a lot of ways to answer this. I think there's like short-term inspirations and there's long-term inspirations.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing to first establish is that, you know, I think, see, inspiration is such like an oversaturated word where it can have so many different meanings and roots from inspiration. Being what inspiration really in and of itself is, to inspire is Latin, I believe, for... I'm actually being serious, like inspiros, it's not, but it basically means to breathe life. Like spiros, inspire. Spiros is like wind, air, breathe life. Don't ask how I know that. But that's what inspire means. So like to breathe life into someone. So to be inspired or to inspire someone is to breathe life into them. To basically, if they watch a video, wow, they're so inspired. They have so much life in them of like, wow, I want to do this and I want to create that. So the root word to be inspired is to feel something to then do it. That's cool. Inspiration's kind of like motivation, though. It's fleeting. It comes and it goes. And you can't really always rely on that because, in a sense, it's almost short term, you know? So to answer the question, what was the question again? I gave context to what that means.
No, but I actually like that where you went that from. Like there's short term and long term. Let's just say real quick your short term inspirations, like for making the video you made on Wednesday or whatever. Yeah, like what...
That's good. That's
just a quick one.
That's better.
And then we'll go for long term afterwards.
Yeah, wow. And this is so good that it has visual because I can actually see our voice tonations in our face and
our animations.
They would never see this stuff otherwise. See how actually crazy we are, man. All right, so short-term inspirations. You know what, man? Honestly, everything just comes back to the long-term goal, and that's why I think I had to preface this because short-term is short-term. I mean, the reason... You know, you can be inspired to do something, and that's fantastic, as you should be, but that comes back to the bigger goal. Like, if I'm inspired to, I mean, it's tricky. It's very tricky. Why don't you add some? Why don't maybe I'll...
Can I assume something? For just your videos? I'm assuming people know who David is. If you don't, he makes videos on YouTube. Yeah, go find him.
Been 3 fucking years.
Especially if it's on your channel. What's inspiring you? Because I feel like your main motivation or inspiration right now is making those mini kind of video. Like, what is it about that?
Oh, okay, I see
like,
what you're
I
saying.
just go with that.
Out of all the content, what is like my gut drawing me towards right now?
Yeah, and as an outside perspective, I feel like it's your mini docs.
Bigger projects, absolutely. Okay, see, and this is why I prefaced it with there's so many ways you can answer this, because inspiration is like, that's like asking a question of like, why are you alive? Like, and that might be super deep, but like there's so many ways you can answer that. Like inspiration is just, you can't just answer that one way. What am I inspired right now most in YouTube? Wow, see, I feel like you should talk, man. I feel like let me, because like my mind is so all over the place. I don't know how to answer this. By you answering it, direct me. That's too general of a question. That freaks me out. I need like
okay,
concise little sandwiches.
Yeah, I get it. What
so Philip,
that's
what inspires you?
I was deflecting because I didn't want to answer the question. I think I'm just gonna say what inspires me is the rise and the feeling I get from making music. Mm-hmm. That's my inspiration. It's kind of just like chasing that feeling of.
I'm going live, by the way. I'm gonna do that.
Okay. For me, I was just saying that I draw my inspiration from like the feeling I get when I write a new song or like I'm producing something and I just get so excited. I feel like that's my main inspiration. Yeah, I feel like that's like what keeps me moving forward is like that feeling of like the new song. And then when I play live and I see someone in the crowd like digs what I'm doing, like those are the moments that really inspire me to keep moving
But it's
forward.
almost like inspired for what then? That's what it all comes back to. It's like that inspires you, but for what? And that's where kind of like that long term.
The long term, yeah.
Right? It's like, what's the point of even doing it? Like, are you inspired for what? Like, especially as like men, I feel like when we do things, like everything has, I mean, I think people in general, but like, I have no clue if you guys can hear me well. I don't know how this audio is, so I apologize, but we got someone looking. What's up? It all comes back to the long-term thing. So with anything you do, at least in a creative standpoint, to be inspired is only one part of the equation. Great, I'm inspired to go for a jog, great. But even Philip and I talk off camera where it's like, generally with creatives, and especially us two, we're very day and night, black and white people, where it's like, I'm either going to do this long-term, hard, the rest of my life, or not at all. So it's like, if I'm going to start to run, I'm inspired to run, there has to be a long-term reason for that, right? I mean, you can be inspired to do a million things, but if there's no grounded logistical reason as to why you're going to do it, it would be masochistic to do it, meaning no point. It's just going to hurt you. If I'm inspired, I don't know if that made sense.
No. So what's your long-term? Should we?
Okay. Yeah. So there has to be a long-term, money, woman, bitches. I'm kidding. Success, fame, everything. Well, I mean, that's kind of it. Not gonna lie, but no, there are a lot of motives, and I think one of the biggest motives, as cheesy as this may sound, is to. I mean, really, the whole point of like why humans are alive is to impact and help other people. I mean, that's as cheesy as that sounds like that's what it is at the end of the day. Everything kind of comes back to that. Life is basically an equation of like you go through challenges, you learn how to overcome those challenges, and then you help people. So to be inspired really comes back to that final mission of to serve people. And man, that can be like people like to have all these grandiose ideas like save the rhinos and all this, and it's like that's great, man. But like it can be as simple as making food for people, like your family. Like that can be as simple as helping your family and serving your community. Like it doesn't mean you have to save the penguins or something. You can. Shout outs to you. You don't have to think so big though.
Impact. I think another thing that inspires, this is like the more selfish end of things, is like the freedom side of like we've all, you and I both have, and everyone has worked jobs where you're put under a boss or whatever and you don't like them or don't like that situation. And I think we strive for a life that we live on our own terms.
Very true.
And I think everyone says that, but not everyone is made for that. Mm-hmm. Not everyone can like, because like we think about this 24/7. People don't. So a lot of people don't want to think about it 24/7.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's a decent enough answer to that question. We've delved pretty deep. No, unless you want to add something to it.
100%. No, that's good. Inspiration. Boom. Next question. This is all. I'm getting kind of like tripped out as far as, I think that's it. That was the end of the question. There's no one watching right now, but there are 1,000 people watching. They can view this story over and over again. So draw something from that. Peace. This guy said a question of, how do you know when to make the decision to leave your full-time job to do this? Well, I don't know if I should give advice on that because I'm still living under a mother's house. Like, I'm not fully independent yet. Give me a few months. Give me 6 months. We'll see. I mean, life moves quick, man, but I don't think I should answer that right now.
Should I answer that question?
Yeah, right. Both answer it.
We're moving on to the next question.
No, I'm not doing that one yet. There's one.
I felt like you kind of answered this question, though.
Kind of did. Okay. Well, let's do this then. Let's do this one for now. Well, I mean, it's your choice, man. There's the two. There's how do you leave your... You know what? Let's do that then, because I can't say full-time because I've never worked a full-time job, but I can say part-time.
Yeah,
I can only give my experience on what I've
done.
done.
Did he say full-time job?
Yeah, because he's working full-time. So, like, I can kind of answer that in my sense, where it's like I left a part-time job to do what I'm doing. I can only give my experience. So maybe this can help of some sort. But I think we can both do this because
just talk about it.
You know, if you're working part-time or you did...
Actually, I'm in a good situation to talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like let's do that because we can kind of go... It's recording, all is good?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, awesome. So the question was, when do you leave your... when do you know, or when do you leave your part-time job or your full-time? We're going to say part-time for the sake of this video because that's all I've done. When do you leave your part-time job to pursue your
But I feel like it works both ways.
It does, but I just can only give what I've done.
Yeah,
like that's
definitely.
I don't have kids and shit like that. Like, he doesn't have kids, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go for it, Philip.
Answer. For me, actually, sorry, just make sure the audio is good. For me, I was working full time probably like the better part of last year. And then the dwindling end of last year, I stopped. I started doing more part-time. And then as the months came and went, I would like work more if I needed extra cash. But I was kind of making money to support my studio downstairs. Mm-hmm. So I just had the goal of when I was working full-time or part-time to make X amount. Oh, yeah. Like, I need this. Yeah. You don't need anything as a creative, but you need certain things. Mm-hmm. And then like just cut yourself off there and then like really cut down the hours if you can. Obviously, I don't know anyone's situation.
Run with it.
If you have
you're gonna have to cut down the hours at some point. At some point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I sympathize for people that have like debt or they have to like help their family out, all that stuff, right? Like, that's a whole other thing.
Regardless, you're still gonna have to cut it at some point. But
yeah,
but
you're right. You really want this, then you just when you can, you start cutting down.
It's as simple as that, and like you're
never
live
humbly.
Yeah, and you're never gonna be fully ready of like when you can, and you're completely right. Everyone's situation is different. I do not have the same responsibilities that other people may have, but vice versa, I may have more responsibilities than some other people may have. Like, everyone's situation is different and subjective, so take it or leave it like with a grain of salt. The value here is to aid, to help. If it can't, I'm sorry. Yeah. But I've had friends who have kids, man. Like, I literally I know people who have kids who like are in situations that are not ideal. Even you and me, like just because like we live in our mom's house right now. Don't ever have the misconception that like things were ideal, and no true creative or entrepreneur will actually ever have ideal situations. None. If they had ideal situations, they're not an entrepreneur. I guarantee you. Period. Because they wouldn't run with it. Mm-hmm. So I just want to put that out there first, because I think it's very easy for people to be like, "Well, you live at your house. You can't say this." Yeah. It's like, to an extent, you're right, but don't ever. Like,
don't assume. Yeah.
Don't assume. It's just like Philip and I were talking before. Like the idea of evolution, the idea of challenges in life, it will be completely subjective based on the century or the season, where it's like 500 years ago, it was, and I think this is like something where I get a little upset, because I think people downplay, and I can understand why, but I think people downplay.
Don't touch my cup.
It was annoying me. I think people basically what I'm saying now is like the problems we face in society today are no different than the problems we faced hundreds of thousands of years ago. Mm-hmm. It's just painted a different color.
Yeah.
Right? So, of course, if you look back in other times, they are going to pinpoint things that are quote-unquote bad. They do the same thing with this generation, but they will only do that when the next generations come. You can't do it right now because this is normal. I don't know if that made sense. What I'm saying is, wow, where am I going with this? Wow, see, I get way too off topic, man. I get way too off topic.
I was trying to follow, and then I was trying to reel you back in. But
yeah, no, it's okay. Basically, let's talk about the part-time thing. When do you quit your part-time job to start doing your thing?
It was just to like, don't assume like anyone's situation, basically. Let's put a turn a cap on that.
Yeah, let's put a cap on that. Don't assume people's situations, because the richest of people can be the most miserable, as you guys know, and vice versa.
Exactly.
Philip stated the point of, go for it.
Yeah, and also I was just going to mention like something a little more tangible about this rather than general.
Lemon peels.
That might have been ginger.
There's lemon peels.
We're keeping that in. It's It's raw.
Oh, of course. I want this.
Just something more tangible. Like, I think if you're not making any money on your craft, like, this is just like, obviously don't know your situation, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But if you're not making any money on your craft, probably don't quit your full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Go all in. But like, when you're making a little bit of money that can like support you a little bit, then you're a lot more free to.
It's so tricky, because it's like life works in very, very mysterious ways. So I'm gonna give you guys context to my story. And keep in mind, take everything we're saying with a grain of salt. If this is not aiding you, just don't watch.
Yeah, exactly. People need to be less like
sensitive. I want you guys to know that like the purpose of this is to help, and this is out of love. But like if it's annoying you and it's not helping, then like please like
bye.
Just don't watch. Like I don't want to waste your time. My story, my context was this. I worked a part-time job, which was almost full-time at times. Like we're talking, like 30, 40 hours at times. But we'll say it's part-time because, died off in the winter. It was an ice cream store. Baskin-Robbins for 4 years. So for 4 years, almost full-time. But it was part-time, we'll say. Heavy part-time. 4 years, which is pretty good. And I did what Philip did, where all that money, 90% of my earnings from the thousands of that went into my gear. Quote unquote, like my studio, my gear, all of my stuff like that. I also did fitness coaching wow, this is a long story. I worked part-time and I had fitness coaching. 90% of that money all went to gear, to investment of what we're doing now, right? Before it's popped. Stay tuned. I quit my part-time job. Wow, man. We're going to talk about the second time, because I actually quit it twice. I quit to do the fitness stuff. I quit the fitness stuff, went back when I quit the second time, because that was the scarier time. The first time was kind of, I had fitness. The second time, there's no guarantees. But this is how it worked for me. I had a guy that I was working with, and the situation was so that I was going to work with him, and we were going to make videos for him, and he was going to pay me per video. And it seemed pretty promising. The guy seemed like, I'm not going to say who it was, but he seemed like he had quite a bit of, he had things going for him. And I was like, cool, this is awesome. I don't need to work I was saving enough anyways to leave, but that gave me that like extra little nudge to be like, it's okay, you can leave, right? You have the security, right? So I saved up enough money. I was working like 40, 50 hours a week for the next like month or two to save up enough for the summer, it was the summer, and then he was going to pay me. And so I quit, right? And
money didn't come.
Stopped working with the guy.
Yeah.
I found out, not going to say who it was, but I found out it was kind of based on lies.
Yeah.
A lot of lies, and it did not fall through at all. So I didn't make a single dollar from him. I made, 2 or 3 videos, but like still. So I'm thinking, fuck, what do I do? But so technically I was making close to no money for quite some time, which kind of goes back to Philip's thing, where it's like, it's subjective, because I still think there are times where you should quit even though you're not making any money. It depends. See, it's such a gray area, because I technically had that security blanket, but then it got wiped once I quit.
Yeah.
And I think that's how life works at times, where the only reason, I think this is where I want to finish it off, and I'll let you talk. I saved up enough money objectively knowing that if I wasn't going to make some stuff, I would be able to support myself for a while. Granted, I'm still living in my mom's house, but gas, food, going out. So I saved around, as context, about $3,000, $2,500 just for that summer, which was, so I quit my job in like May last year. So from like May to like September, like the summer, $2,500, living very, very humbly, or no going out, nothing, just at home. If there's groceries from mother, thank you. If I need to pitch in, get some, okay. And gas, like that's it. Like, I'm not buying anything. All my gear, shut up. All my gear that I bought was already bought. It was just to live, right? And so that kept me going. I'll finish off the story another time, but you go with it.
Or if you want to wrap up.
No, I that was kind of to answer the question.
Yeah.
I quit the job. I saved up enough that would sustain me for a little bit, and I left. Yeah. So even though I didn't get that gig, I was okay. So
and like to add to that, it's just like there's always going to be a bit of leap of faith. No, honestly, like I don't think I've even taken that leap yet. Like
Philip's got to take that goddamn leap of faith, bro. Join the dark side.
Yeah, honestly, and I think it's very, very soon. Like, so, but I'm confident in it being sooner. I'm not worried about it. Like, if you're a little too worried, I don't think.
To wrap up that question, let's just finish that off and throw it in the bucket. So, Philip and I just took a little break, guys. We had Philip to see the camera actually shut off, so I'm kind of lost where we left it. But basically, the question, finishing it off: when do you quit your job? Go do your thing. Sum it up. It's different for everyone. It's a complete gray area. Listen to your gut, and you will be okay. You're never going to be fully ready ever. Like, you may have some sort of incentive or quote unquote, incentive. For me, it was working with that guy. Whatever it is, you're never going to be fully sure, and that's a good thing. Just listen to your gut, take the leap, and don't be a little puss. Which you are not a puss if you're watching this. Thank you. Next. I hope that answered it, but in all love. You'll be okay. Just, it's going to be scary. It should be. And life sometimes only works once you do. Like, once you take the leap, then life's like, okay, boy, here you go. Or in my case, you could say, fuck you. Yeah. More work to be done, bitch.
Yeah.
You're blessed either way because hashtag growth. Anyways, I'm done. Next question.
You got the
Do you have anything to add on that before I get the next question? We're going to answer one more question, guys, because I feel like this is going to be about like 40 minutes long, which is actually, I'm stoked about it was that long. That's sick.
No, I don't have anything to add.
No? Okay, so the last question. And I don't think we need to say who they're from because...
They'll know.
You'll know if you asked it. Okay, I don't know if you're cool answering this one, but it's how to know what to charge, like charging for your craft, because we were talking about this off camera.
Yeah.
The whole idea of, how much to charge, how to know what to charge, how much to charge for your craft and whatnot. You being a musician, me into videography, whatever. When do you charge? That is like the biggest question people have.
I think you charge when people ask. I know that shit's just been there. It's weird. It's just I can't pull it out.
No?
It's weird.
Yeah, I didn't
Anyways. No, but honestly, like, you might find this contradicting, but like, I'm all about doing shit for free. But if we're talking about like what you're worth, that's a different question.
Never work for. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Of course.
There's both sides.
Of course, work for free.
But I think for me, it's when you start charging is when people start asking you. So like when someone comes out to you and says like, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you this," and you don't even mention money, but they mention it first. I think once you get to that point, you're like, okay, I can start charging. Like that happened to me last summer.
Yeah. For
2 years straight, I did not get paid for one gig.
Yeah.
Literally two. And I did a lot of gigs.
That makes sense.
Nothing. And then that one gig came around. It was like 250. And you're like, and I was like, okay. Oh, I was gonna do it for free.
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think from then on, like I've been able to gauge like, okay, that person paid me this amount. If I'm gonna bring equipment, there's also like
that's good.
Factor in like equipment and stuff like that.
It's good. Yeah. I think, to add on to that, what's helped me is, and keep in mind, guys, like, again, take these with a grain of salt. I have not shot 1,001 gigs yet, and I was speaking to Philip because of, I'm not going to rant too much, but, Philip and I, at least as creatives, and I think a lot of creatives, we're not really freelancers, meaning we're not really doing this for quote-unquote commercial reasons, and if we were, I'd be caking out by now, boy. We do this more for personal reasons where it's like, I'm building a personal brand, podcast, YouTube, like this podcast as an example. Like, is this going to make any money? Fuck no. Is that okay? Of course. This is all back to a personal brand. This is who you are building that, so that will sustain you. And if that's confusing, I'll touch on that in a different way, but it's more finding out what the cat wants opposed to chasing the cat all the time. Let the cat come to you. That being said, prefaced with that, I still have done client shoots. I just finished one a few days back, have a new one, quote unquote, coming up, which could be. So what do you charge, right? Because there are times where you should. That was a really good answer. Gauging it. If they paid you $250, I think the biggest thing though, why you should work for free is because you're able to make that engagement for yourself, which I think is the best thing because no one's going to know your talent, your craft as good as you are, right? So if I'm doing this shoot for free, which I've done massive shoots for free, it's like we're talking like 6 hours of shooting, 5-6 hours of shooting, directing like 8 to 10 people, big shoots for commercials for free, nothing. I got nada. I got like a mug and a pair of socks. I didn't ask for money though, so it's not their fault. Like, thank you for the mug. I literally drank coffee out of that mug this morning actually, so thank you. Shout out to that brand. Beautiful people there. by shooting that for free, I'm able to gauge from my energy, my time, what would I charge for this if I shot the exact same thing again. That's why you want to shoot for free. And that leads, so shoot for free. You're able to gauge it, but then it's tricky because what if, you say like, yeah, $2,000 and they're just like, no, that's too much. What do you do? Philip, tell him. What do you do?
I think that's when, because this could get very, because there's no way, unless we ask the specific person talking to us saying like, this is my situation, then we'll talk about it specifically. Because you can't, right? You can't talk about everyone in a general sense. So,
nope.
But I think that first way that I said, and also your way of like gauging it by like doing it for free. And then as soon as someone pays you, you start to gauge. Yeah. If you work with 10 people and then they all don't want to pay you, then there's something there's a trend there.
Which is the other edge of the sword, where it's like, yeah, you can say, what you think you're worth, which you should, but it's like, how realistic is that? Because I can be like, yo, $3,000, and they're like, fuck you, I'll give you $2. And
like okay. 3, 4, 5 people might take advantage of you, which is gonna happen. But like, if like 20 people are doing the same thing, then it's not. It depends. It's not a coincidence.
Like, I think there are two things you have to take into factor. So one is your actual, and you have to be very objective with this. One is do this stuff for free. How long objectively? I hope this is picking me up well. I think so, because I'm kind of talking. No, it is. One, do it for free. How long did that take you? How much energy? So in a perfect world, how much would you charge? That's the first thing. We have that out of the way. Now, the second thing, now that we know that it's not a perfect world, what's realistic? And what I mean by that is objectively, how skilled are you? Because you have to be very objective here. It's not just about your time. It's also about your skill. How skilled are you in this? Who's the client? Everything like that. And you find that middle ground. I will finish it off on this note, though, and then I'll let Philip talk. With shooting with clients, it has to be an equal playing field. And although this may seem like, what's the word? Like you're moving backwards, you actually want to charge quite a bit. And that might sound very moving backwards. You have to think of it in the deepest psychological way, okay? Once you're done your free work and your little tiny gigs here and there, charging enough flips the switch, everything mental, everything. Once you start charging more, you start taking yourself serious. And they start taking you serious. If you continue to say, you know what, yeah, $200 for this video, $200, $150, you're not taking yourself serious.
Yeah, it's true.
And they will not take you serious. And you're going to continue to be that guy. The second you say, you know what, $800, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, everything switches mentally. How you view yourself as a videographer or a musician completely changes. You now have to bring your best game. And that's why everything's subconscious. Because if I do a shoot for $200, subconsciously, I'm probably going to half-ass it. If I have to have a 5-day turnaround, being I have to have it done in 5 days, I'll probably say, fuck it, 20 days. It's subconscious. Yeah. They're not going to treat you as professionally because they're like, it's $200. They're probably going to be late for it. They're not really going to care. But if you say, yo, $800, everything changes. The whole dynamic changes. You bring a better game. Whether you think about it or not, you will try harder. You will do better. You'll be more punctual. You will edit it faster. They will respect you more. It's a beautiful thing. So understand. Look, I get it. When you do it for free, and by the way, I'm not caking out at this moment. So like, take this with a grain of salt. When you're done your little tiny shoots of $100, $200, and you're objectively able to start quoting a little bit, fucking jump at it. Like every quote, and the reason I haven't heard from this quote yet is for that reason. Every quote you do, objectively, once you get to a certain point, it should be, you don't know. Like, I have no clue what they're going to say. They could easily say no. It's a mutual thing. Yeah. That's where you want it to be. If I quote something and it's just easy, then it was wrong. Vice versa. If they say something and to me it was easy, something's fishy about that. It should each be like, oh, okay, like, all right.
Yeah, it's a bargain.
It's a bargain. It's like you're buying a car. How much is this car? $13,000. Oh, okay, you're not like, oh, wow, yeah, that's great. Yeah. Or vice versa. You're like, okay, and you work and you bargain. Mm-hmm. That's how you know you guys respect each other's time and value, and that's usually where you want to keep it. And sometimes it's not gonna win. I have no clue what this person's gonna say. It's quite a bit. But I know I can deliver, so I charge that and I quote that. And if I get no, then it's great. And I'm going to finish off there because I know I'm ranting. Usually the best client comes right after the one that said no, right? In whatever circumstance. And again, that's subjective, but like, if I
one door closes, one door opens.
Exactly, one door closes. I quote this wrong, boom, okay, cool. Usually, like I've had times where it's been like, whoa, okay, cool, cool.
Yeah, so it's just not worrying. about.
That's the
yeah,
biggest
it's
thing.
not worrying.
Don't stress it. And it's so hard because it's like I technically should have so much to stress about in my situation, but it's like, why don't I? I'm still alive, bro. I don't know how. Like, I'm still here, man. I still, money just like, I'm not saying I'm caking, but like it's somehow I have enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. I actually really like that. And I know I'm talking a lot, but that's the standpoint I think you need to come from when working with any brand. I don't give a fuck what size you are. You can have 1 million followers. You can have 2 followers. It's the viewpoint of, I'm going to be okay if I don't get this. I don't need you. And not in a negative way, but it's like, I'm okay if you say no to this. I know that I'm looked after, I may have a new, like, and that doesn't mean mommy and daddy are like wiping your ass. That just means like, I'm going to be okay. You may say no, but I know some client or somehow things are going to be okay for me. If you come from a loving standpoint, not a desperate, please, okay, you're right, I'm sorry. Like, you're fucked. Like, they will bitch you out. You've lost all respect. And I'll finish it off here. I know I keep saying that. You can still come from a loving, non-desperate standpoint and do it for free. Like that big shoot I did, I didn't charge a single thing, but I wasn't coming from a desperate standpoint. I was coming from I really want to improve my portfolio, my skill, my value of myself. I love this so much, and I'm coming from such a strong standpoint. Yeah. I didn't do this for free for you guys. I'll let you talk.
No, but like...
that was a lot.
Off of that, like, when you do shit for free, like... We said it before. Don't be afraid to do shit for free, because when you do things for free, you have leverage.
Absolutely,
you have all the leverage.
That's actually
like that's
actually a very good point. I actually really
do people understand that? Like how good that is?
That's
like
very true.
I've done so many things for free, like for other people that like they subconsciously. That's how I got my first main paid gig. Yeah, I opened up for this friend of mine that I just wrote with, like. Literally like 3 or 4 times, and like 1 or 2 of the times were like last minute, and she called me and like, can you, because they bailed, and I was like, nice. I was always consistent. I helped her out, and then she sent me on this like random gig for $250.
Nice.
Like it comes back. It's leverage.
It does.
Like although like the cost of like doing those gigs or whatever, that's not the point.
And
like
that's secondary.
Yeah,
you can get like it's stepping stones. You get $100. It can go to 500. It can go to 2. Like.
I think, man, it's just like having a positive mindset. Like,
I
don't know what to tell anyone. Anything like you and I are like, anything that happens, I'm gonna take it as a positive because I'm a positive person. Like,
that is huge.
Like, the gig didn't go. Man, last 2 gigs I've done were dead crowds. No one really reacted much. I should be like devastated and upset, but like I'm like,
that's huge.
It's good. That's one less gig that's gonna happen like that, or I need to work more on it. Like I don't know.
That is the most factual thing you can think you can say or think of. If it doesn't go through, it's a blessing in disguise. But that comes back from the standpoint of that having that loving sense of worth, where it's I didn't need you. I wasn't doing this out of desperation. If you say no, that's okay. I know I'm protected. Like I know I'm gonna be okay. Therefore, coming back to it is a blessing in disguise. I learned from it. Like, oh great, you know what? Thank you. And who knows, man? Maybe it wasn't good. And maybe you come back a year later, 6 months later, and it's meant to be then, and it's way better. So it's like, I think that's really good. You can't lose.
Yeah.
But that all comes back to like knowing you're going to be okay. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it always comes back to that.
It all comes back to that. Like, you have to know you're going to be okay. And that can be spiritual for you. That can be complete confidence. That can be like, you can put faith or trust or knowing in whatever you want. Like, everyone has a different answer, but you just have to know.
Trust, yeah.
You got to trust, man. Like, you got to trust yourself. Like, you have to know you're going to be okay. If you know you're going to be okay, you literally can't lose. Like, you can't lose. If they turn you down, like why am I so calm right now? Believe me, in my situation, I mean, I should not be this calm. And I shouldn't have been this calm for years, but I'm still okay somehow.
Yeah.
So it's almost like by doing this whole entrepreneurship thing and seeing that, like, I'm still okay. Like, I'm struggling at times, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
And it's been fucking like 6 fucking years, 3 years, whatever years. It puts things into perspective where it's like, I'll probably be okay for a bit longer than try me, motherfucker.
Yeah. Just another thing to cap. You're right there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Another thing to cap is when you're doing stuff for free, or when you're not even getting any gigs, which is fine too. Mm-hmm. If you're just doing things for your family, like that's real, or like doing shit for yourself.
If you're making a full-time living, you still should be doing some things for free.
Yeah. 100%. Like, so like if you're doing stuff for free or not even having gigs at all, that's fine. you're honing your craft.
Yes.
And like I'm still there 100%.
So
Like
am
David's
I.
still
As
there.
am
Like
I.
I'm not worried because like I don't want my debut album in the next 3 months. I want my debut album in like a year and a half to 2 years. Like I'm honing my craft. Like I'm not ready yet. Like I'm patient, and I'm like I know I need some more time to like work it out. And this isn't like a like I'm afraid. It's not that. It's like I'm very conscious of where I am at my point in time, and I'm gonna work on it for another year and a half and a bit. So with that said, like when you have time or not making money, you just own your craft, and in 2 years of owning your craft, you're gonna be worth 2,000, 3,000, whatever it is. Like it's just like just get better. Like that's it, right? Like if you're good, you're gonna get money. Like it's as simple as that. Right?
I think to finish off this question, because like this was a good beefy podcast. I think to like finish it off to you guys, what I would honestly recommend, and again, this is what I've been doing, and this is, take this with a grain of salt, because this could be the reason why I quote unquote am so unsuccessful right now. Put all your, sounds good?
Yeah, I'm just checking this out.
Put all of your eggs into your basket, meaning you are your greatest asset. You are your greatest team player. Like you are your greatest business partner, yourself. Put everything back into you, not other people. Do not put all of your energy into another brand or another job. Everything should be coming back to you. So any brand or shoot that I have ever done or ever will do, you can bet your ass there has been a way that it has come back to me. And that's the only reason I've done it. Maybe because I'm able to post it on my social media. It's able to benefit me. If it's just benefiting that person, you're fucked. Because if that person dips, you're cut.
To play devil's advocate.
Yeah. Challenge me, boy.
Something that might benefit in hindsight, it looks like it benefits them, is actually benefiting you because it's an experience that like you can take away and blah blah blah. You know,
which still comes. You're right. Which still comes back to you though. It's like even if you don't get paid,
but yeah,
it comes back to your portfolio.
I'm just being
annoying. For sure. But everything should be coming back to you. And if it does come back to you, then it really doesn't matter if you get paid or not in the beginning. It's Philip and I were speaking about it. It's like an invisible debt. Right, where you have like a credit card and you're buying shit, you know, like you can't see right then and there how much you're losing. There is a debt building up. It's like it's the same thing with your skill. There's like an invisible debt building up of skill, so in a good sense. And eventually, like that skill, although is invisible, you can't see it. It is there. Just like when you buy things, the money is being spent. You can't tangibly see it, but at the end of the month, the motherfuckers are saying, "Yo, it's this much." With your skill, it's the same thing. At the end of the month, you've gained X amount of skill. You can't cheat that. So as long as you're doing every single gig or job from a standpoint of this is coming back to me, coming back to my skill, my portfolio, my enjoyment, whatever it is back to you, your skill debt's building up. Eventually that shit's going to fucking, it's going to pour on you. Like eventually it's going to hate you. You know?
We were talking earlier and I'd like to just add this in because like it's something I said and it's something I've liked that I said. Is that okay? That's okay.
Yes, sir.
It's about fuck.
This is good, man. Move into fear and
no. It's exactly what you were saying. It's about cashing in. So like I was just telling this to David, this idea, and it's just different ways of putting things. I feel like the last 3-4 years of me like working on my craft, although I don't see it as work, I enjoy it. Blah blah blah. I enjoy this. So, but the last 4 years, I've been like, I punched in 4 years ago. And since then, I've been working on my craft, working overtime, all that shit. And it's been 4 years, 5 years now. And maybe in 6-7 years, I'm going to punch out and then it's going to be a whole lot of money coming in. Like, not that I do it for money, but like, that's how we see it, right? Like,
it's that invisible skill debt.
It's the craft, your skill, and like how good you are. Like you might not be getting the money now, but like all this work that you're putting in,
right?
Or maybe even tomorrow, $1 million might drop. Like it's
And you know what? I think that's like where we should leave it off in the sense of like I think the biggest, most important thing is wow, man. There's so many like this is so good. Podcasts,
this
things
table,
like this, like no, that the table too, but the ability to talk about things like this, like everything at the end of the day, whether it's money, it all comes back to self-belief, self-understanding, self-worth, trusting it. Like that literally thing we said, trusting you're going to be okay. Everything comes back to that. Like what Philip said, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but it's like, what did you say again? You like, it was something I was going to say from that.
Punching in the
You were
hours.
punching in, and it's just like, okay. In the simplest of forms, life never works in a linear fashion. Life is secular, meaning it works in circles. Look at nature. Look at anything. Don't look at anything man-made. Anything like nature, like how it's been, is all secular. It's all seasons, right? So we work like this. If you can hang in there long enough to wait out those seasons, you're gonna be okay. You see, the thing is, though, is from a young age, we're trained, and it's no one's fault. This is just, you got to have some sort of system. We're trained that things work like A, B, C, D, right? In a fashion, you're grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. Unit 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a 60% average, 70%, 80%, 90%. It's all this linear up and down. That's usually not how life works, though. Don't get me wrong. There can be a linear fashion, but life works like this. This is entrepreneurship. This is creativity. This is how life works. So if you can understand that this is all part of the process and continue to make it, you're going to be okay. And what I mean by that is, if you're working 5, 6, 7 years on something, you may not be seeing this linear growth, but it's happening. It just doesn't happen the way you think it's happening, but it is happening. It all comes back to that invisible skill debt. Something is growing. Something is building. You just have to wait. So to finish that off on that point, you have to know and believe that this is coming and act as if it's already coming. And you don't even have to get super woo-woo with law of attraction, da-da-da-da. It's as simple as this. Regardless of whatever you believe, if you embody that thing, you are it. It's not that it's coming right fucking now. It's here. If you're embodying that person, you are that person. Like, there's no, it's coming. Like if I feel, act, and behave a certain way, that's who I am. Everything around in that sphere is who I am. Like, if I'm eating, like this is, you really have to think about this. You have to act like you already have it. Like, you already have this. I already feel like I have tens of thousands, 6.5, 7-figure business, fans, videos. Like, I am that person right now. Maybe I'm not discovered yet, but I am that person right now. Mm-hmm. That's how you know you're okay. Then it's coming. I don't know if that made sense. But,
yeah, I think you're just like, it's embodying it completely.
You have to embody. That is the biggest tip I can ever give you, because if you're always saying it's just coming around the corner, it never comes. Now being objective, it's not here yet. We got to be somewhat objective.
I was just going to say, like, embody it, but have perspective, you were just saying.
100%.
Like, I think, like, that's the whole game, is like believing in yourself, embodying it, knowing that you're going to make it, all that stuff, all that nice foo-foo stuff like that you have, like, of like beginning days, you believe in it, but then also have perspective that it's not going to come tomorrow or next week or in 3 months or 5 months. It could, but like,
there's objectivity.
If it doesn't, it's fine. Just it's all good, brother. Peace and love.
No, there's the back and forth, but like I do believe, like, the embodiment comes first, the rationality comes after. In a sense.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I said first and second.
Mm-hmm. I think, like,
if you have rationality, you're never going to
never really embody it to an extent. Like,
do you know how many people are rational and they don't, like, they're never going to do anything in life because they're too rational?
Because it's always one step away. The thing with the creative process, guys, and what we're doing is it's very irrational in a sense. And the reason for that is because of this. Rationality is which is okay. It's good. Like, you need that. Don't get me wrong. But, like, there has to be, like, life isn't, I mean, this is subjective, but life isn't necessarily rational. I mean, it can be, though. It's like, if you can put rationality into this, then you're fucking dangerous. Yeah. Like, I think you and I are pretty good at this, where it's like, we can put rationality into the irrational. Then you're like, you're treading on water, bro. Like, you're going crazy. Like, when you understand things don't, they don't happen right away because of this and this and this, and you can begin to dissect everything, being a creative, and put rationality to that, you're fucking, like, you're dangerous, bro. Like, you literally have best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's a fine balance between the two, that, like, you can be unbeatable if you have both. It's like humility and cockiness and arrogance. It's the two pendulums.
It literally has to be both. And if you only have one, then you're fucked. You need both. And the people who are
but
the
maybe
most...
a little more arrogance / embodiment of belief. Like you need more of that in the beginning than, right?
I literally think like the people who are the most humble have the most arrogance. You just won't see it. I just don't think they'll show it to you. Because in order to have one, you have to have the other. Otherwise, you're out of balance. The people who have the most arrogance, I also believe, have the most humility. True people. I was gonna be like, whoa. I know some cocky assholes. No, I know. But I'm not talking about those guys because like that's fake. That'll catch up to them. I mean, true people who have been there. You have to have both. They just may not show it, right? So this was super deep. Holy crap! Podcasts, photo. Oh, whoa! What am I saying? Talks like this, man. Like, we're gonna be saying this in front of millions of people, bro. Do you know how many fucking podcasts we're gonna be on? Like, ideas like this. Holy crap. Coming for next many podcasts. Much love, humility, going back to that arrogance, right? Like, I will come for your neck. And like that's the reality. Like, you need that drive, but at the same time, like who am I to say that? Right? Like, there's that humility. It's like, who am I to say that? Like, I've only achieved X amount where other people have done so much more. Like bow down to that. Be objective. Right? And love all beings and creatures and life and happiness and Oreos and cupcakes and everything beautiful. Great. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a sign out for my channel. If you want to do sign out for your video.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do sign out for my.
You do yours first.
All right.
I can do it first. I don't care. No, you. I was just talking, man.
No.
And all right, guys, this is going to be the outro. This is going to be the wrap-up. I want to thank all of you guys who have watched this and listened to this. Definitely give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Check out Philip's YouTube channel. That will be down below. He updates content quite often as well. I think he's like the only other YouTube friend I know, so like help a brother out, man.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, that's kind of it. So we're definitely going to do more of these. I really like the visual aspect. We're going to do more with Philip. There may be different locations, different guests. We're going to figure that out, but it's going to be dope, and the production will only continue to increase as time goes on. So we're going to finish it there. Thank you guys for watching. Give it a like. Follow everything up. We're going to be doing more of these. Thanks so much. We'll catch in with you guys. And next time, peace. Say peace, Philip.
Peace. Sorry.
Peace.